What are the top 10 secret or rare Marvel Contest of Champions champions that are not in game? And you might be thinking, Rich, what the hell do you mean by that? There's not secret champions. Well, there is, and there are, and we're going to go over them in this video. Make sure you are subscribed with post notifications on all to make sure you see my content as well. Follow on social media. I've got Twitter, I've got Discord, we've got Instagram, we've got the whole shebang. Also, there are plenty of links to some of the information we're going to cover. It's all legit and it's all been made in the past by either Kabam or it's a case that we've seen some footage. So links in the description to check it out. Our video begins with a little video of someone else's. So back in the day, actually 4 years ago, well over 4 years ago, there was a video called Grandmaster versus the Collector, which was done by MCOC Mod, who used to be a big data miner at the time. But here's the thing, this video revealed a lot to the player base. As at 1:27 into the video, it's revealed that there's a mutant version of Jean Grey. Now, it's always been a bit of a disappointment that Kabam have opted to push the narrative of the Phoenix, or even some cases, Dark Phoenix, which is another character that is a secret one. But here's the thing, and we'll be talking about it in a minute, but here's the thing, I'd love to be able to see like a Jean Grey, even like X-Men blue version. So with that still kind of coded in the system, it would be nice down the line to see this particular version be put in, one that kind of looks towards the telekinetic powers and pushes that type of character to the game. Now moving on, and at 1:22 in the video, this showcased a different version or different take on the character of Moon Knight. Now, as a lot of you know, Marvel does have a lot of influence in the way that Kabam deliver certain characters in their type of classifications, backstory, and create something in-game that's either going to be tapping into one thing or a second thing. With Moon Knight's abilities and his origin, it could be said that there's more mystical properties to his creation. So this could be the reason that Kabam had conflicting ideals as to the direction of the character going in. And it may be down the line that Kabam changed this, as this is one of these champions that's kind of meme-ish, but as well could be looking to a buff in later years. The same can be said at 0:38 seconds into the video, where there is a science version and a tech version of Antman. And it indeed is a long running thing, whether or not technical enhancements maketh the character, and as well, is it a case that, is this all about science? I suspect with the creation of this does go down to pin particles being the key thing for the character's creation. And that same argument could be for that of MODOK. MODOK is in a similar situation. You may say that technical advancements is kind of keeping alive, but also the manifestation of the scientific nature of his being, which allows him to do more based on what he is now, is self-evident. So therefore I understand where Kabam went with this logic to then go science instead of tech. Although there are a fair few skills that I have a few question marks about technical advancements, but you know, we'll save that for another video. And at this point you're probably saying to yourself, you've not offered me anything unique here. Don't worry, the spiciest stuff is yet to come. Now let's kick off the spicy with Dark Phoenix. This was a character that was introduced for a few runs, especially for a special event. This is taken from a Seaton either live stream or video. And as well, not the most flattering of photos, but it does showcase the champion there. I do like the look of it, I think it's cool, but it never became a character that you could actually play. And if I remember rightly, there wasn't a huge amount of difference, especially from the normal Phoenix that's in game. Either way, this is still one of those extremely rare champions in Marvel Contest of Champions. But that certainly isn't one of the rarest, and as well, we have it on screen now, a dark version of Daredevil. This was kind of a lower down version, and I don't know if this played into the Netflix series of the release, because this never really got into the game files from a huge amount, but also had more of a, it was designed, but as well, it can't be found. That's the thing, it's so rare, only a select amount of images exist of this different variant of Daredevil, which I think is still really cool. It's well put together, but as well, the future of this version either came into the balance of what MCOC and Kabam were doing with the Netflix series and what had to stop, because there's a good reason of why things went a bit south with all the Netflix stuff. At the moment, it's just rumor, and that's the thing, whether or not Kabam were then developing this version or the other version and then decided that they go for this version instead based on having a bit of hype from the TV release or the Netflix release. Next up, did you know there was a different version of Hulkbuster considered for the game? There is actually a different version of Hulkbuster armor from 2006, especially from our comic book run, which was going to go out. And whether or not this was prior to the release of the film, and then they kind of went, hey, let's kind of like go and wait, or they kind of like said, oh, you know, Marvel have got something in development, so they went, hey, let's hold off on this. Which does indeed make sense. You can see on screen at the moment that version of the old Hulkbuster, which is like the comic book version, which is still pretty cool. I don't know if it's worth putting it in now, especially as it's just going to be just another reskin. So yeah, definitely against that idea. But still, if this was in prior to the movie version of Hulkbuster, then it would still retain. Would it look a bit kind of like clunky and too comic booky? Of course, but still it's got that old kind of rustic like metallic kind of metal charm to it. Okay, next up, I'm going back in time to X-Enforcers. If you remember this event quest, it was amazing. We got Archangel for the first time and as well Psylocke. And yeah, it's good to see that it's kind of nod to X-Force, but here's the thing with this, it did give us an X-Force version of Wolverine. And even though this version is a reskin version, I think you could go against this. This was a playable boss, and it would have been great to see a version of X-Force Wolverine coming into game. Not have anything against any of the Wolverines currently in game. I'm still a little bit annoyed about the way that Weapon X is a trophy champion. Not trophy in like it's useless and trophy, but it's trophy because you have to earn it. And yes, okay, you've got to earn stuff in game. But it's one of my favourite characters, and to have it put behind some kind of a wall is frustrating for somebody like myself as a fan. But still, the colouring of the character does actually look really cool, and as I said, I would have loved to have seen this. It's my hope down the line that maybe they come up with a different version that's kind of styled in a different way rather than a reskin, and look to push this in game for players to have a good old time with. Next up and on screen is Iron Skull. Now this is footage that is just really grainy and old, so it's difficult to give you the kind of clearer footage. But it masks a lot of like Iron Man and movements and stuff, but that was the same movements of Iron Man. But as well had influence from Iron Patriot. But here's the thing, right at the very end, there's this kind of like Hydra salute. So it looked like the character was built for something or having a purpose. It's really strange as the character was fully built, but they decided not to ever release it. Which is in some way a good thing, especially with how like the kind of years went on. People then kind of went, oh, why aren't you releasing it? Well, I don't think anybody really cared too much about the character. And as well with the release of the first Avenger, the Captain America film, I think then it was a point of going, look, are we past the point of releasing it? Should we release it? And then he ended up going for a tech version, which is kind of fine. But this is still somewhat a mystery to this day as to the reason for creating the character and as well the reason not to release it, especially prior to the release of the tech version that we see in game. And also it's in the game files as a skill, so to quote SNL, what's up with that? What's up with that? Now heading back to the MCC mod video, you can see Scarlet Witch, but it's not the Scarlet Witch as you know. This is a different variant of the character, who does indeed look incredibly mean. Now I don't know if there were questions as to maybe adding in different alternatives, maybe Caban were taking the game in a way that you would see reskins a lot of the time rather than putting in new characters, but still, the version that we see on screen now and the version that is still in the game files, still very interesting to see, is totally different. This Scarlet Witch I think was called Scarlet Witch Ultimate, so whether or not there's different types of variations, the same thing we got Marvel Now. At the time we had Marvel Now version of Magneto and a few others as well. This one had Hexsphere, Hexbolt, probability manipulation, chaotic bombardment, and Hex Sphere, which are indeed very different to the one that we see. And this is the thing, we've got Scarlet Witch, a new version dropping next month. So it could be the case that the build of the character, the new one coming in, takes a lot from what was being built for the Ultimate version back several years ago. So that would be really interesting to find out what's going on with that. So that is the secret Scarlet Witch. So let's just recap our list. We had Jean Grey, which is kind of a mutant version, Mystic Moon Knight, Tech Antman, Dark Phoenix, Daredevil Alt, the other Hulkbuster, Wolverine X-Force, Scarlet Witch, and Iron Skull. So who is the final one? A bit of backstory to this, and yes indeed it is Jessica Jones. This particular version of Jessica Jones looked more like the TV version, the Netflix version. The show first aired in November 2015. It's a great day, 20th of November. Funny enough, this is nearly kind of going up to 5 years. And funny enough, 20th of November is my birthday, so that's weird as well. Now in the month leading up to the release of Jessica Jones, there seemed to be some sort of link together with the Daredevil version of Netflix and as well Jessica Jones event or a story quest coming into the game called Contamination. This seemed to follow as a storyline with Jessica Jones doing detective-based work, with the chapters being a missing hero, tainted power, and cracking the case. I mean, at this point, it looked fairly likely that the character would be implemented into the game. but it wasn't. The whole story around Jessica Jones is a mysterious one, and whether or not there's some legality to this to explain why this model, which still exists, but it exists in the game files, has not been brought to the forefront, must be around the legality of the usage of the visuals, and as well the relationship between Netflix and Disney or Marvel Studios at the time. And again, that's just rumor, but it looks like there's some weird technicalities to the reasons as to why this character isn't put in. So maybe a Jessica Jones could be used, but from a digital image, a game usage perspective, and as well maybe with the license that is in principle with Kabam and Marvel, it may not be a option to say let's have this in game prior or post to the reasons as to the Daredevil Netflix version being in the game, but we don't refer it to the Netflix version. Even though it's incredibly grainy, and I do apologize for that, but this is the best that I can find. This is an image of the video of the champion in action. So there's Jessica Jones. She's got the same movesets of Black Widow, but it's not so much of an issue because most characters back in the day were just given movesets and they would just like, you know, copy paste and then build the character on top before making different alterations to the character down the line. But it's still cool really to see this version of one champion that is so rare, so secret and in the system, but is not used. It's amazing. Now here's the thing, there is actually more champions that are secret, and I'm just going to test people. If you've watched from the start to the finish, a little bit of a bonus for you. Here is another rare or secret champion. This champion is Doctor Strange Marvel Now. Essentially it's a copy and paste version of the standard Doctor Strange, but the color scheming is very different. And again, goes back to that big time in MCOC between about late 2015 and 2016, where they were doing a lot of reskin versions, and maybe this was going to be an idea to put into the game, or it was just a boss champion that you have to face off against. Either way, it's still pretty cool to see this different version, but yeah, there's a little bonus for you. So technically there's 11 in this video, but I want to check the people that are repping from start to the end of the video. And that has indeed been the video. There's no more other secret champions, but I thought this would be a really cool video to just take into consideration where we've come in over 5 years, approaching the 6th year next month of this game. Some stuff that I've known from back in the day, this massive journey for years that I've been on with creating this YouTube community, and as well to shout out to 50k. I thought I'd do this little video as well from those that have been loyal, repping the channel, hitting on notifications, being back every single day through the thick, through the thin, and all that stuff. I appreciate you and thanks for supporting, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Put in the comments section if I've missed any out, and as well, hope you have a great day and see you all soon. Oh, and as well, the usual thing, check out some recent content that's going to be up here. And also, we've got some really spicy content coming out very soon. My birthday is tomorrow, so I'll be doing a birthday stream. So hopefully get to see you for that. And yeah, some really good videos coming out towards the end of the month. And in December, it's all about pushing the new guides, because that's going to be a thing. Loads of new guides. Thanks for watching. See you all soon. Bye-bye.